You've been there, haven't you? You've tried everything, being the perfect partner, giving all of yourself, sacrificing your own needs for the sake of the relationship. But somehow, despite everything you do, you're still not getting what you deserve. Maybe you're tired, frustrated, or confused, wondering why things don't seem to be clicking. The harder you try, the further you seem to drift apart. What if I told you that the secret to making him obsessed with you isn't in doing more, it's in doing less? Yes, you heard me right. In this lesson, we'll explore how the power to attract the kind of love you've been longing for is right within your reach. And it doesn't require you to lift a finger. Watch this video till the end to learn how to turn the tables and make him obsessed with you without lifting a finger. You've been chasing, haven't you? Chasing love, chasing approval, chasing validation. Maybe you didn't even realize it. Maybe it started as small gestures, little acts of selflessness, all in the name of love. You've given so much of yourself, stretched yourself thin, trying to fit into someone else's vision, someone else's needs, hoping, waiting for them to see you, to finally recognize you for everything you are. But somewhere along the way, you lost something. You lost you. You've been running after love, after approval, after something external to fill the void inside you. But no matter how much you chase, it always feels like it's slipping further away. That's because love, respect, validation, none of those things can be fully given to you by anyone else. They come from within. And until you realize that your worth does not come from what others think, but from how you see yourself, you'll always feel empty. You'll always feel like you're chasing something that isn't truly yours to claim. Now is the time to stop. Right now. The truth is, when you know your worth, you stop chasing. You stop seeking validation, approval, and recognition from others. It's not because you don't want it, but because you understand that it's not where your power lies. Your worth is not defined by anyone but you. You are not an extension of someone else's ideas of what you should be. You are you, and you're enough. You are always enough. But how do you get there? How do you stop feeling like you're not worthy, like you're not enough, like you need to prove yourself to be loved? The first step is to recognize that the power to feel worthy has always been in your hands. It was never something to be earned or begged for. It was something to be claimed. You need to understand that you, just as you are worthy of respect, love, and everything you desire. You don't need to prove your value to anyone. You don't need to give up pieces of yourself or shrink to fit into someone else's world. You are your own definition of enough. When you stand in your power, when you start valuing yourself, you stop running after the validation of others. People can sense when you know your worth. You stop chasing them because you no longer need them to affirm who you are. And that's when they notice you. That's when they feel drawn to you. Not because you've been chasing after them, but because you've been focused on yourself, your own growth, your own happiness, your own self-love. It's hard, I know. It's hard to break the cycle of seeking external validation. It's hard to believe that you are enough when you've been taught that your worth comes from what you can give, from how much you can do for others. But the truth is, your worth is not about what you do for others. It's about who you are. You are worthy because you are here, because you are alive, because you are you. No one else can define that. Only you can. And once you realize that, you'll stop chasing after love that isn't true. You'll stop putting yourself in situations where you're made to feel small, where you're made to feel like you have to be someone else to fit in. When you stand in your worth, you stop settling. You stop allowing people to treat you less than you deserve. You stop accepting love that isn't reciprocal, that doesn't honor your value. You stop compromising your standards just to keep someone around. And most importantly, you stop compromising your relationship with yourself. You stop letting yourself fade into the background. You start standing up for your needs, your desires, your boundaries, and you start living for you. This is what it looks like when you know your worth. It's not arrogance, it's not entitlement, it's self-respect. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are enough. You don't need to prove it to anyone. You just need to be it. And when you do, you will see your life transform. The right people will be drawn to you. The right opportunities will come to you. And the love you've been seeking will start to flow naturally because you've stopped chasing it. You are the prize. You always have been. It's time to stop running after validation, after approval, after anything that makes you question your worth. You are worthy now, just as you are. And when you truly believe that, when you start living that, your life will never be the same. Your worth will shine through, and the world will finally see you for the incredible person you've always been. You've spent so much of your life giving pieces of yourself away, haven't you? Pouring your heart, your energy, and your time into others, hoping that somehow they would make you feel whole. You've looked to the people around you for validation, for love, for a sense of purpose, believing that their approval is what would make you complete. But somewhere along the way, you realized something. You've been giving so much of yourself that you don't even know who you are anymore. You've lost sight of your own worth, your own value. And now, here you are, questioning why it feels like you're running on empty, why your happiness feels so fragile, so dependent on others. Here's the harsh truth. Emotional independence doesn't mean pushing people away. It doesn't mean building walls and retreating into solitude. It means finding your strength in yourself. It means standing firm in the knowledge that your happiness, your sense of self, and your peace don't have to come from someone else. You've been waiting for someone else to give you what you already have inside of you. You've been waiting for validation, for someone to make you feel worthy, for someone to show you your value. But let me tell you this, you don't need anyone else to validate your worth. You are already whole. You are already enough. You see, emotional independence isn't about detaching or rejecting love. It's about realizing that your happiness can't be built on someone else's approval or affection. It's about standing in your own power, knowing that your worth comes from within. When you stop relying on others for your happiness, when you start filling yourself up from the inside, you become magnetic. You become someone who doesn't need external validation to feel whole, because you already know that you are. And that confidence, that self-assuredness, is what will draw people to you, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you are fully yourself. This journey of emotional independence begins with knowing that you don't need anyone to complete you. You don't need someone to fix you, to validate you, to make you feel like you matter. You matter because you exist. You are worthy because you are you. And when you start living from that place, you will no longer chase after people or approval. Instead, you will attract the people who value you for who you are, not for what you give them or how much you bend yourself to fit into their world. But let's be honest, this isn't easy. It's not easy to stop relying on others when you've spent so much time believing that their love is what makes you feel secure. It's not easy to step away from the need for external validation when it feels like your whole life has been spent trying to please others. But I promise you this, it is worth it. Because when you finally let go of that need, when you stand firm in your own worth, you'll feel a freedom that you never knew existed. You'll realize that you don't have to bend yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You get to be you. And that is powerful. So, how do you start this journey? It begins with small steps. It starts with acknowledging that you are enough, just as you are. It starts with saying no when something doesn't serve you, even if it disappoints others. It starts with setting boundaries, protecting your peace, and choosing yourself over and over again. The more you practice this, the stronger you'll become. The more you choose yourself, the more you'll discover that your happiness doesn't come from someone else. It comes from you. When you master emotional independence, you stop looking for validation in the wrong places. You stop settling for less than you deserve. And you stop compromising your peace for anyone else's comfort. You become your own source of strength, your own source of happiness. And when you're whole, when you're complete, when you're secure in who you are, that's when the right relationships can thrive. Because now you're not relying on them to complete you. You're sharing your fullness, your completeness, your strength. And that's the kind of love that's real. That's the kind of relationship that's sustainable. The kind where both people stand on their own, fully aware of their worth, and come together to build something greater than the sum of its parts. But it starts with you. It starts with you choosing yourself, knowing that you don't need anyone else to validate your existence. You are worthy because you are you. So stop looking to others for what you already have. Stand in your power, embrace your worth, and watch how the world responds. Not because you're seeking it, but because you are radiating the truth of who you really are. And that, my friend, is irresistible. You've been an open book, haven't you? You've poured your heart out, given everything away, hoping that someone, anyone, would appreciate the depth of what you're offering. But somewhere along the way, you realized that your openness wasn't making them cherish you more. It was making them take you for granted. You showed all of yourself too soon, revealed too much, and now the connection feels one-sided. The spark is fading because there's nothing left to discover. The mystery, the allure, it's gone. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you can do isn't to give it all away? What if I told you that holding back a part of yourself, keeping some mystery alive, could make him crave you more than ever? You see, transparency is important. Honesty is important. But mystery is magnetic. When you give too much of yourself too soon, you risk losing that spark. The intrigue, the curiosity, the desire to know more. It all fades because he already knows everything. When you hold parts of yourself back, you create space for someone to want to discover you, to understand the layers that make you who you are. It's about making him work for it. It's about allowing him to see different facets of you over time, to unravel the depth of who you are bit by bit. And in that process, the more he uncovers, the more he'll want to know. You won't have to chase his attention. You won't have to beg for his affection. It will come naturally. Because just like anything valuable, you've made yourself worth the pursuit. This is not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about respecting yourself enough to leave some parts of you private, to not give everything away at once. By doing so, you're teaching him how to value you. You're teaching him that your time, your energy, your presence are precious. And when you allow him to discover more about you, slowly, over time, you elevate your own worth in his eyes. You don't reveal everything up front because you know that who you are is something worth earning. Think about the most captivating people you know, the ones who draw you in, who leave you wanting more. It's not because they're perfect or because they're constantly sharing every detail of their life. It's because they have an air of mystery, an energy that makes you curious. They leave space for your imagination to wander. They know that intrigue is part of attraction, and they don't give it all away in one sitting. Instead, they build it layer by layer until you're hooked, until you can't help but want to know what's next. It's time to reclaim that. You don't have to be an open book to be loved. You don't have to spill all your emotions, share every secret, and let down every wall just to get someone to notice you. What you need is to create space for him to wonder, to make him work a little harder, to uncover the real you. When you do this, when you create mystery around yourself, you'll notice something. He'll start valuing you more. He'll start seeing you as someone who deserves to be pursued, someone whose presence is not to be taken for granted. Now, I know it's hard to hold back, especially when you want to connect deeply with someone. You want to share your story, your feelings, your heart. But here's the thing, you're worth the wait. You deserve someone who is willing to invest the time, the effort, and the energy to truly get to know you, to peel back the layers, and to appreciate each part of you. Don't let yourself be too easily accessible. Don't make yourself too available. Keep a little mystery. Keep a little of yourself to yourself. It's about creating a balance between openness and guardedness. It's not about building walls, but about building respect. It's about knowing that the most valuable parts of you are worth discovering slowly, over time. When you do this, you'll find that the attraction deepens, the connection strengthens, and you'll feel more in control of your own story. You won't have to beg for his attention, his respect, or his love. He'll be drawn to you, not because you gave everything away, but because you made him work for the parts of you that matter most. In the end, mystery doesn't just create desire, it fosters respect. And respect is the foundation of any healthy, lasting connection. So hold on to that mystery. Don't give it all away too quickly. Let him wonder, let him chase, and let him realize that the more he gets to know you, the more there is to love. You are worth the wait. You are worth the pursuit. And when you start respecting your own mystery, you'll watch him respect you more than ever before. You've felt it, haven't you? That overwhelming urge to be noticed, to prove yourself, to show up and shout your worth to the world. It feels like if you don't demand attention, if you don't make yourself loud enough, no one will see you. No one will appreciate you. So you push, you strive, you try so hard to be seen, but all the while, something's missing. You've been trying to make others recognize your worth, but in doing so, you've lost sight of something crucial. The most magnetic, irresistible kind of confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention. It speaks softly, but its impact is profound. Confidence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about being at peace with who you are, comfortable in your own skin, without needing anyone else's approval. When you embody confidence in this quiet, subtle way, it doesn't need to scream to be felt. It commands presence without ever forcing it. People feel it before they even see it. The most confident person in the room doesn't need to make noise or demand attention. They walk in, and without saying a word, you feel their energy. It's the way they stand, the way they carry themselves, the way they know they belong, no matter where they are. It's not arrogance. It's the inner peace that comes from knowing, deep down, that you are enough, just as you are. And here's the thing. You have the power to embody that kind of confidence. It starts with you. It starts with trusting yourself, accepting yourself fully, and letting go of the need to perform for others. The more you're comfortable with who you are, the more confident you'll feel. And it's not about changing who you are. It's about letting go of the fear of not being enough. When you accept yourself as you are, with all your flaws and imperfections, you begin to exude a quiet strength that others can't help but be drawn to. The way you walk into a room says more than words ever could. It's in the way you hold your head up, the way you make eye contact, the way you carry yourself without hesitation. Subtle confidence is in the way you speak, without needing to raise your voice. In the way you own the space you occupy, without feeling the need to demand it. It's in how you don't apologize for your presence, because you know you deserve to be here. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. And it's in this quiet, understated confidence that you become irresistible. When you stop trying to impress others and start simply being yourself, the right people are drawn to you. The right relationships form because they're built on authenticity, not performance. When you are confident in who you are, you stop chasing validation, and in return, others start to seek your presence. They start to value you, not because you've asked them to, but because you've shown them that you already know your own worth. But here's the challenge. We've all been conditioned to think that confidence means being louder, bolder, more visible. We've been taught that in order to be noticed, we have to make noise. But true confidence, the kind that truly attracts, is the kind that doesn't need to make a sound. It's the kind that's rooted in self-assurance and peace. It's quiet, but powerful. It's the kind that makes people stop and pay attention, not because you forced them to, but because they can't help but notice the strength you carry. It's time to stop looking for validation outside of yourself. It's time to stop measuring your worth by how much attention you get or how loudly you can speak. Your true confidence lies in the quiet moments, in the way you walk through life with a sense of calm self-assurance. When you know who you are, when you're comfortable in your own skin, You no longer need to fight for a place in the world. You create your own space, and the world naturally makes room for you. This is the art of subtle confidence, to be so sure of yourself, so at peace with your own worth, that you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real, being authentic, and standing firm in who you are. When you can embrace that, when you can let go of the need to perform, you'll see the world around you start to shift. You'll become magnetic, not because you're trying, but because you simply are. And that kind of confidence, the kind that flows from within, is the most powerful, irresistible force in the world. There's a quiet sacrifice you've been making for far too long. The sacrifice of your own time, your own energy, your own dreams. You've been putting yourself last, haven't you? Putting his needs, his desires, his happiness above your own. It feels like the right thing to do. After all, you want to make him happy. You want to be there for him. But in the process, you've lost sight of yourself. You've lost sight of the passions, the goals, the dreams that once set your soul on fire. And now, somewhere deep inside, you feel it. That emptiness, that quiet, gnawing feeling that you've been giving and giving, but it's never quite enough. Not for him, not for you. You're exhausted, you're drained. You've forgotten what it means to prioritize yourself, to make your needs, your desires, your growth just as important as his. You've been waiting for permission to take time for yourself. But here's the truth. You don't need permission. It's time to stop feeling guilty for wanting to take care of yourself. It's time to stop believing that your needs are secondary to everyone else's. Because when you prioritize yourself, when you make your growth, your passions, your well-being a priority, you are sending a powerful message. You're telling him and the world that your time, your energy, and your love are valuable. You're telling them that you won't accept less than what you deserve. And that is magnetic. That is the kind of power that demands respect, the kind of energy that draws people in. When you start prioritizing yourself, you shift something deep inside. You start to remember who you were before you put everyone else's needs ahead of your own. You start to reconnect with your passions, your goals, your sense of self. And as you do, you'll notice something incredible. The more you focus on your own growth, the more you cultivate your own happiness, the more he will notice the shift. He will see you for the strong, confident, independent woman that you are. He'll see that you have a life outside of him, that you're living it on your own terms. And that, my dear, is incredibly attractive. But here's the catch. When you start prioritizing yourself, there will be voices that try to make you feel guilty. You'll hear the whispers, the self-doubt creeping in. You're being selfish. You're not being a good partner. It will be hard at first. You'll feel torn between the desire to care for yourself and the fear of disappointing him. But remember this, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give the best of yourself if you're not taking care of yourself first. When you start choosing yourself, when you choose to say no to things that drain you, when you set boundaries that honor your time and energy, you're not being selfish, you're being smart, you're being loving. Not just toward yourself, but toward him too. Because the more you nourish your own soul, the more love, joy, and energy you have to give. When you make yourself a priority, you show him that you are not someone to be taken for granted. You show him that you are worthy of respect, that your needs matter just as much as his. It's time to break the cycle of guilt, of neglecting yourself for the sake of someone else's happiness. It's time to stand up for your own well-being, to claim your space and your time. You deserve to be whole. You deserve to have your dreams, your passions, and your growth as much as anyone else. And when you start living that truth, when you start prioritizing yourself without guilt, you'll see the most beautiful shift, not just in your relationship, but in yourself. You'll feel stronger, more alive, more powerful. You'll feel the weight lift off your shoulders. And in that space, you'll find a love that's built on respect and admiration. Because the most magnetic woman is the one who knows her worth who honors her needs, and who isn't afraid to stand in her own light. This is your time. You don't have to choose between loving him and loving yourself. You can do both, but you have to start with you. When you prioritize yourself, you'll attract the love you've always deserved. Not because you're demanding it, but because you're already giving it to yourself. And that is the kind of love that lasts, the kind that's built on mutual respect and deep admiration. You've been caught in the cycle, haven't you? The cycle of constantly giving, constantly hoping, constantly waiting for the recognition, the love, the validation. You've been looking for something to fill you, something to prove your worth, something that confirms you are enough. And each time it feels like you're running on empty. You've attached your happiness, your sense of self, to the outcome of others, to the way they see you, to the way they respond to you. But what if I told you that true power lies in detaching from all of that? Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you close yourself off from love or shut down your emotions. It means something much deeper. It means releasing the need for validation. It means letting go of the idea that your worth is tied to someone else's approval. It means you stop needing something from him or anyone to feel whole. And that is where your true power lies. You've been handing over your peace, your confidence, your happiness to the very people you've been hoping would give it back to you. But here's the truth. The more you need someone else to affirm your worth, the more you lose your own sense of power. The more you lean on others to fill your cup, the more you leave yourself empty. But detaching, truly detaching, gives you a strength you never knew you had. When you stop relying on someone else to complete you, to validate your existence, that's when the magic happens. That's when the real connection begins. When you stop needing validation, you start becoming a force of your own. You begin to stand firm in who you are, without apology. You start filling yourself from the inside, instead of constantly searching for someone else to fill you up. You stop holding on to expectations, stop clutching onto the outcome. You stop giving away your emotional well-being to the whims of others. Instead, you stand in your own worth, and you let go of the outcome. And in that release, something amazing happens. You start to breathe, the relationship starts to breathe, and it transforms. When you detach emotionally from the outcome, you create space. Space for him, space for you, space for the relationship to grow naturally. Without the pressure of constantly trying to force it to be something, you stop pushing. You stop holding on so tightly. And that's when everything begins to shift. The energy changes. You don't need him to change. You've changed. You no longer need him to fulfill you. You no longer need him to meet all your needs. And the moment you let go of that, you'll see something profound happen. He'll start giving you everything you've been longing for. Why? Because he feels the shift in the energy. He feels the space, the freedom. He feels the absence of neediness, and he is drawn to it. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about pretending you don't care. This is about releasing the need for someone to complete you. It's about embracing the fact that you are already complete. Just as you are, you don't need anyone to fill the empty spaces inside you. You have the power to do that for yourself. And when you step into that power, when you stop seeking validation from someone else, you start to embody a quiet strength, a magnetic energy that pulls people toward you. You've been giving so much of yourself, haven't you? All in the name of love, all in the name of connection. But the truth is, love isn't about losing yourself. It's about being whole, standing tall, and still being able to give without the need to be filled in return. It's about choosing yourself first, realizing that your peace, your worth, your happiness are not dependent on anyone else. When you do that, you give from a place of abundance, not desperation. You love from a place of strength, not need. Now let's be real, this isn't easy. It's hard to detach when you've spent so long looking for validation from others. It's hard to let go of expectations when you've been taught that love means giving everything, every last drop. But the truth is, Detachment isn't about stopping the love. It's about loving yourself first, about filling your own cup, and giving from a place of wholeness. When you stop needing someone else to fill you, you'll find that you have more to give than ever before. And that's when everything changes. The moment you stop clinging, the moment you stop needing, the moment you let go, that's when the love you've always wanted starts flowing to you, effortlessly. Because you're not chasing it anymore. You're standing in your own power. And that's what makes you irresistible.
You felt it, haven't you?
That constant push and pull, where your needs and desires are often set aside in favor of someone else's. You've been giving so much of yourself, your time, your energy, your heart, but there's a part of you that's slowly starting to wither. You've neglected your own boundaries, thinking that love means giving without limits. But deep down, you know something's missing. You're exhausted, you're drained, and the connection you crave is starting to feel more like an obligation than a partnership. What if I told you that boundaries aren't walls? What if I told you that setting them isn't about shutting people out, but about protecting what matters most? You? Boundaries are the pillars that hold up the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without them, everything starts to crumble. But when you establish and maintain strong, healthy boundaries, you protect your energy, you protect your peace, and you protect the connection you've worked so hard to build. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's not about shutting down or being selfish. It's about respecting yourself enough to say, this is where I stand, and this is where I need to be respected. It's about understanding that your needs matter, that your emotional well-being is just as important as his, and that if you're going to give love, you need to be able to receive it without losing yourself in the process. When you respect yourself, when you honor your own boundaries, something incredible happens. He learns to respect you in return. People will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you allow disrespect, if you allow your needs to be overlooked, you'll continue to feel drained, unseen, and unappreciated. But when you show up for yourself, when you say, this is what I need to feel safe, loved, and valued, others will have no choice but to step up or step aside. It's not easy, I know. Setting boundaries requires strength and vulnerability. It means having hard conversations and standing firm in your beliefs. But it also means taking care of yourself, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's about not compromising who you are, what you want, and what you need, just to keep the peace. Peace doesn't come from avoidance. It comes from respect and understanding. There may be moments when you feel guilty, when you question if you're being too demanding, too rigid. You may wonder if setting boundaries will push him away. But here's the truth. The only way to truly nurture a loving connection is by protecting your own heart. Love can't thrive in an environment where you're constantly sacrificing yourself. True love flourishes when both people feel seen, heard, and respected. And the foundation of that respect is built on the boundaries you set. It's time to stop thinking of boundaries as something negative. It's time to stop viewing them as walls that keep people out. Boundaries are the framework that keeps your relationship strong, steady, and safe. When you create space for both of you to be yourselves, to have your own needs, your own time, and your own peace, you create a deeper, more authentic connection. It's in that space that love grows, not out of obligation, but out of choice. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say no when something doesn't feel right. You are allowed to prioritize your emotional well-being without guilt. And in doing so, you create the kind of relationship where love isn't just about giving, but about mutual respect. When you show yourself that respect, others will follow. You don't need to beg for it. You don't need to chase it. It will come naturally when you stand firm in your own value. So as you step into this next chapter, ask yourself, what do I need to feel safe, loved, and respected? What do I need to protect my energy and my peace? The moment you answer those questions and start setting your boundaries, you'll begin to feel the shift. You'll stop feeling drained and you'll start feeling empowered. The more you stand firm in who you are, the more you will attract the love you truly deserve. You are worthy of love that respects you, honors you, and lifts you up. And it all starts with the boundaries you set for yourself. There's a feeling that rises in your chest, isn't there? That pressure to act fast, to move quickly, to get the answers you want now. You've been there, caught up in the rush of wanting everything to fall into place, wanting the connection to deepen, wanting him to see your value, to understand your worth. You've tried to push it forward, trying to make things happen, chasing after the love, the attention, the connection. But every time, it feels like you're chasing something that slips further away. Like the more you chase, the more it fades. You feel it, the impatience, the doubt, the frustration. You wonder if you're doing something wrong, or if maybe this will never work. But what if I told you that the power doesn't lie in the chase? What if the real strength, the real magnetism comes from resisting that urge to rush, to force, to try to control the outcome? What if I told you that playing the long game is the key to unlocking the kind of connection you've always wanted? Patience is powerful. It's not something we're always taught to value. In a world where everything is instant gratification, instant answers, instant everything, patience can feel like a weakness. But in relationships, it's anything but. When you stop chasing, when you stop rushing, when you take a step back and allow things to unfold naturally, you create space for trust, respect, and deeper connection to grow. Here's the thing. Relationships aren't built overnight. Love isn't something you can force, no matter how much you want it, no matter how much you desire that connection. When you chase after someone, when you push them to move at your pace, you risk losing what could truly be yours. You risk creating a bond built on pressure, on speed, instead of trust, respect, and understanding. The strongest connections are the ones that grow organically, the ones that evolve over time. The longer you give something space to develop, the more solid, authentic, and passionate it becomes. But it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to wait. It's hard to sit back when you want something so badly. It's hard not to rush when you feel like you're running out of time. But here's the truth. The more you try to force something, the more you drive it away. When you allow things to grow at their own pace, you're not just allowing time for trust to develop, you're also allowing for self-discovery, both his and yours. You're not just seeing the surface, you're allowing him to show you who he truly is, without the rush of expectation. And more importantly, you're allowing yourself to show up authentically, without the pressure of being something you think he wants. You're creating space for both of you to be yourselves. And in that space, something beautiful happens. You both start to open up, to trust, to connect more deeply. Playing the long game doesn't mean being passive. It means being intentional, being present, and allowing yourself to feel each moment for what it is, not rushing toward what it could be. It's about trusting that when the time is right, everything will fall into place. It's about understanding that you don't need to chase because you're already worthy of the love and connection you desire. And when you stop chasing, when you stop forcing, you give him room to pursue you. You give him the chance to see you for who you really are, without the pressure of feeling like he has to keep up. The magic in relationships isn't in the rush. It's in the quiet, steady growth. It's in the moments of trust being built, the moments of respect being earned, and the moments of intimacy being shared, not because they were forced, but because they evolved naturally. It's about giving yourself the grace to let things unfold at their own pace, without clinging to the outcome. And in doing so, you create a bond that's stronger, deeper, and more meaningful. So stop chasing, stop rushing, stop trying to control the timing and the outcome. Give yourself the freedom to breathe, to be present, and to let things unfold as they should. And in doing so, you'll see the connection grow stronger than ever before. Because when you stop trying to force it, you give space for the love you desire to come to you in its own time, in its own way.